Lemogang Tsipa is joining me in studio today to talk about his new film, Beyond the River. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So before signing on to do the movie, did you know anything about the subject matter?
I roughly knew and understood the world of canoeing. Growing up in KZN, I had a few friends that were paddlers, but it wasn't a completely, familiar topic with me. So yeah, I learned quite a bit in the process.
So what was it about this film that made you want to get involved?
I think all the elements in it were very interesting for me as a filmmaker, and I think the piece itself was very challenging. The daunting task of having to learn how to canoe was something that I saw as a challenge that I'd like to overcome and do. And the storyline was also quite interesting. I found it's a South African story, which it is based on or inspired by tree events. So I think that also struck a chord with me, just telling one of our own stories.
Without giving away too much, can you tell us a bit about the journey that your character takes through this film?
Duma, as seen in the trailer, is a young man that's sort of caught between two lives. We find him at first sort of, because he's a bit underprivileged, stealing and doing like all the negative things to make a living and survive. And the story is just about him transitioning from that world into the canoeing world and trying to find his way as an athlete and trying to drop the negative side and focusing on the positive sides of it.
So, you said that you had to learn how to canoe, so it was very physical, this film. So how did you get into shape? How long did it take? What did all this training entail? And what were some of the challenges that you faced?
The whole process was for about 4 or 5 months in total, on and off, because we were also working on a few other projects in the meantime. But it was tough. It was tough. I mean, there was the learning to canoe, which is, it looks easy. I mean, you just see somebody sitting on a boat and doing their thing, but it's really hard. The balance is hard, so we had to work a lot on our cores and developing the right muscles and your back muscles and stuff. So just to practice and to get into shape, I did a lot of canoeing. When we did practice, we do about 3 hours a day.
Wow.
Underwater of canoeing, and then after that I'd go to boxing to just try to get the upper body strength and the shoulders going, and then I'd gym from on and off. So if I didn't box today, I'd like just do weight training and all that stuff. It was pretty nice, but I also got to a point where I was a little bit too fit for the role, and then I had to turn
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I mean, in the story, he is an underprivileged guy, and I don't want to look like a guy with a gym membership that drinks protein shakes every day. You know? He still had to have a certain element of sort of malnourishment.
And then, what are some of the challenges that you faced during filming? What was really tough for you?
There was a lot. I mean, the hours are strenuous. It's tough, and a lot of the physicality in that is on you. So I remember there were some scenes where we had to run, and everybody else is on the tracking vehicle, which is great.
Yeah.
We're chasing the car, which is a bit tough. And about 5-6 takes into it, after you've ran a couple of kilometers, it gets a little bit tough. But I mean, we prepared and made sure that we could get ourselves to a level where we could be competent and work as hard as we can.
So after all of this training, would you ever consider entering the Duesey for real?
Never, never, never. I mean, I'd like to consider myself a very sporty person, but it's a very specific thing. It's like just waking up and doing the Comrades Marathon or any one of those things. It's tough, and the athletes that do participate in it are extraordinarily fit. I don't even think, like in filming, I don't even feel anywhere near that level, because it's a specialist thing. But maybe if I lose my mind one day, I'll do it. But for now.
So there's such camaraderie between you and Grant. How did you build that bond?
The process of training and just getting to understand the sport of canoeing really bound us. I mean, it's one of the key points in the film of how sports can bring us together, and this was just the training process was just another example of that. So Grant and I spent the 4 or 5 months together, getting to know each other, making each other laugh, and became really, really good friends, which was nice.
Yeah, and it really shows in the film because it's so genuine. Like, you can see, you know what, these guys, they started out rough, but they really end up being friends, and it was so nice to watch. And then, what is the one thing that you hope South African audiences take from this film?
I think the biggest message in this film is just opening up a dialogue and understanding somebody that you wouldn't usually interact with. You know, I think that's one of the most key messages of this film. Going out of your comfort zone, out of your circles, out of your norm, and finding somebody who is different to you, and trying to understand them, because you can learn so much more from them than you'd think.